Hello YouTube, on Harikyono here. Right, so I've got a bit of a gripe with Gaijin about the P-38G Lightning, and this is the G variant. Bear in mind I'm talking about the G variant. The fuel tanks for the P-38G and the XP-38G, because they've both got the exact same, well, they're the exact same plane in Gaijin's eyes. One's just premium aircraft with research point booster and credit earner, blah blah blah, make money. The fuel tanks for the P-38G Lightning were located in the internal wings. These are the outer wings, these are the internal wings. Now, I'm going to cut to a picture of, well, it's a hollowed out version of the P-38G. It shows you all the internal workings. I'll do a quick voice over that. But bear in mind, the fuel tanks are located here and here. No other fuel tanks on this plane in the P-38G. It wasn't until the later P-38J models, not the early P-38J models didn't have the external fuel tanks in the wings. It was the later J models that had the outer external fuel tanks in the wings. So, cutting across to this image, and you can see in this image here that there is no fuel tanks in the wings. You can see the internal fuel tanks exactly where I showed you, on the internal fuel tanks between the engines and the cockpit. So basically the pilot was just sitting in the middle of a sea of fuel. So back to the P-38G Lightning, and as you can see, very pretty aircraft, but there's no external fuel tanks. Gonna cut across to another picture here. It is of a mock-up of the outer wing of a P-38J, and it shows you the external fuel tanks being added into the outer wings. So as you can see, the black bar in the hollowed out version of the wing there, that is the fuel tank in the J model, which is in the outer wing. So, why am I griping about this? Well, any P-38G fan in this game, anyone who regularly visits the forums, anyone who regularly flies his planes, knows that your outer wings are constantly being set on fire. How are these wings being set on fire if there's nothing burnable there? This, on the P-38G, is just a wing. There's just metal ribbing and metal over the top of it for structural integrity. There's nothing in there that can burn. So, sorry, I'm dying from a cold here. I'm gonna show you a replay of me. I get shot. I go head on with a BF-109 F4. I was tired. I was like, oh, I can't be bothered anymore. Went head on with him. He shot me in the left engine, and possibly the left fuel tank as well, because both of them instantly go up in flames. So you'll see what happens in the replay. Right, so here we are with the replay. I'm going to show you two of these replays. First off, I'm just going to show you the quick replay to show you how fast the fire in this aircraft spreads. And then I'm going to do another slow motion replay showing you it from a different angle. So basically, this is from my perspective. Tried to dive on that BF-109, then I saw this guy come in. We trade. So, engines on fire, internal fuel tanks on fire. Switch the engines off, go into a dive. Now, the fire has spread from one fuel tank to the other fuel tank, to the engine, and then to the non-existent external fuel tank. So let's have a look at this replay in slow motion. Right, so here we are, right. Just to let you all know that in-game it took a total of 8 seconds from the fire to spread from the left engine to the right outer wing. 8 seconds. And bear in mind that there's no way for the fire to spread from the left fuel tank to the right fuel tank because they're not connected in any way, shape or form. For that to happen, Gaijin has to have implemented the fact that the cockpits are burnable and all the electrics suddenly exploded. But then my pilot should have died and been knocked out. So, shots passing from the BF-109 over my wing. Engine is on fire. That's an engine explosion. No, it's not. That's a fuel tank explosion. You can tell by the blue flames. Blue flames is fire. It is fuel tank fire. So, let's have a look. My fuel tank is burning. That was the fuel tank exploding just then. He's passed me. We've stopped shooting at each other. So, there should be no way for the fire to spread to the left side of the plane. It's at this point I switch... Yeah, there he goes. He's passed. There goes his wing. It's at this point I switch my engines off and go into a dive, hoping that the self-sealing fuel tanks will seal, put the fuel tank fire out, and that the engine fire would go out. Let's keep watching. There goes the engines, switched off. And there goes the fuel tank. The fire has somehow managed to spread through the cockpit into the other internal fuel tank. It's very pretty in slow motion. There goes the engine. My engine's just exploded. And any second now... Any second now. Come on. Any second. There we go. So, as you can see, the outer right wing has just suddenly exploded from a fuel tank fire. As you can see, blue flames, if you look very closely, there are blue flames there indicating a fuel tank fire. There are no fuel tanks there, so why is there a fuel tank fire? Bear in mind from earlier in the video where I showed you the external, or the internal workings of the P-38. That was the earlier model of the P-38. There was nothing in the wing that was flammable. So why the hell have I got a fuel tank fire in the wing? Let's try and find a nice angle. There you go. You can see the blue flames coming out from the wing there. So yeah, just further proof that Gaijin have incorrectly modelled the P-38G Lightning. There are no fuel tank fires because there are no fuel tanks, yet we constantly suffer from fuel tanks. And the P-38G Lightning fires should not spread down the plane like that, because there's no way for a fire to transfer from one fuel tank to the other because they are not connected in any way, shape or form. So, I know it's a boring video. Those of you, 90% of you probably haven't even made it this far in the video. You've probably heard my droning voice going, "Oh fuck this, I'm out." So, this is Unholy Keanu. It's just showing proof that the P-38G is incorrectly modelled. It has been like this since early closed beta, yet nothing has ever been done about it, no matter how many times we submit bug reports. This is Unholy Keanu, signing out. Still burning!